Beaucoup seraient tentés de l'affirmer au regard des derniers développements liés à cette crise déclenchée en 2016. En la faveur de l'audience accordée vendredi dernier par le président de la République au secrétaire d'État du Saint-Siège et surtout après la messe célébrée hier dimanche pour la paix dans les deux régions anglophones en crise. Dans son homélie, le numéro 2 du Vatican, qui souhaite un retour à la paix, a appelé au dialogue afin de résoudre cette crise qui perdure. Cette volonté affichée par le représentant du Saint-Siège d'aller vers la paix avait déjà été exprimée par l'Église catholique locale. Malheureusement, affirme Monseigneur Abraham Comé, président de la Conférence épiscopale nationale du Cameroun, la demande des évêques du Cameroun de rencontrer le président de la République afin de discuter et envisager des pistes de sortie de crise est jusqu'ici restée lettre morte. Madame, Monsieur, tout à l'heure à 20h, c'est la grande édition d'information présentée par Cédric Noufélé, tout de suite après le débrief du journal et tout de suite le fait du jour. Crise dans le nord-ouest et le sud-ouest, l'Église catholique peut-elle réussir où les autres ont échoué? Pour en parler, nous avons invité en plateau ce soir Prince Joel Mokage. Good evening and welcome.
Good evening to you, Serge Alain. Good evening to my co-panelists. Good evening to those watching in the northwest and the southwest region. Special good evening to the peace-loving people of Misaje subdivision.
Okay. Good evening, Dr. McAnthony Akumbo.
Thank you. Good evening, Serge, and to my fellow panelists, to the people of Cameroon, precisely to those of the Northwest and Southwest, and to my beloved family, I think, watching me right now.
Mr. Kamaliman, you're welcome.
Thank you once more, Mr. Serge, and good evening to my co-panelists. I want to tell you that every time I'm called on this subject, I rarely come because it is something that I think we should always talk until we reach such a point that we have a solution to stop this crisis in Northwest and Southwest.
Voilà, Kamon Limen, je rappelle, vous êtes PhD researcher. Researcher, yes? English law. You're welcome. Je commence avec vous, barrister Kamon Limen. L'Église catholique qui veut, on va le dire comme ça, s'impliquer une fois de plus pour la résolution de cette crise. Qu'est-ce qui peut vous amener à penser que cette fois-ci peut être la bonne?
Monsieur Alain, je commence d'abord à remercier même le Seigneur pour avoir donné ce désir de l'Église de venir parler de nos problèmes ici au Cameroun. Comme vous avez bien dit, ça a tant duré. Et je suis toujours optimiste. Je crois que avec le temps, les partis ont constaté que la guerre ne résout pas de problème. Donc je crois que l'État camerounais a dû constater aussi que ils ont gaspillé énormément de ressources pour presque rien. Parce que jusqu'à nos jours, cette guerre persiste. Et de l'autre côté aussi, je pense que des gens qui ont pris les armes doivent comprendre que ce n'est pas ce qu'il faut, parce que en réalité, des personnes qui souffrent maintenant, c'est des anglophones qui recherchaient la population, qui recherchaient une vie meilleure. Donc, je crois que c'est un plus. L'Église est venue ajouter, n'est-ce pas, parmi des autres personnes qui ont estimé qu'un dialogue peut vraiment résoudre le crise anglophone. Et il faut rappeler aussi que même des chefs de village de l'Ouest avaient aussi entamé ces procédures. Et je regrette que chaque fois quand des personnes viennent avec cette idée-là, apparemment ça offense certaines personnes. Parce que je ne sais pas comment l'État pourrait ignorer l'appel qui a été fait par des chefs de l'Ouest jusqu'au point qu'on stigmatise certaines de ces personnes. L'Église, vous avez bien dit qu'il y a des archevêques qui ont demandé de voir le chef de l'État. Et jusqu'à aujourd'hui, ils ne sont pas encore reçus par le chef de l'État. J'ai dit, c'est un mépris.
Est-ce que c'est une façon de... Est-ce qu'on peut conclure tout de suite que le président ne veut pas recevoir les évêques?
D'abord, c'est un mépris envers ces gens-là qui sont là pour nous guider spirituellement. Le chef de l'État n'est pas au-dessus du Dieu. Et je sais qu'il est un catholique, catholique fervent. Et que tout le monde doit contribuer, n'est-ce pas, pour que la paix soit restaurée dans les zones anglophones. Donc, à mon avis, le pape a constaté que peut-être on n'a pas pris des évêques camerounais au sérieux, et que quelqu'un de cette valeur devrait venir. J'ai m'associé avec lui pour demander que vraiment il faut que la paix soit de retour au nord-ouest et au sud-ouest.
Voilà, on va pas terminer le tour, hein, parce qu'il y a un invité qui n'est pas encore là, mais on va d'abord prendre la direction de Paris où nous attend Abdelaziz. Moumbé, bonsoir Abdelaziz, bienvenue une fois de plus. Oui, Abdelaziz, on vous a pas suivi, bonsoir. Bon, voilà. Justement, on va camper sur cet aspect. Les évêques du Cameroun qui demandent à être reçus. Pas de réponse. Mais le représentant du pape qui vient au Cameroun est reçu. Est-ce qu'il faut voir la chose comme ça?
Cameroon has a very long history of, let me say, this disrespect for the church. And apart from that, the church in itself, I mean the Roman Catholic Church, has an internal problem that has permitted them to be disrespected. I'm going to speak.
Donc vous dites qu'en interne d'abord il y a des problèmes.
I'm going to speak
dans
from
l'Église.
those two directions
Yes.
to give you reasons why the church is being disrespected and why we are where we are. Where the church, I think that if it needs to stand as an arbiter towards this particular crisis, what it will need to do to become a better arbiter. The first thing is, I will remind you back history. When the UPC had an uprising, which was actually hitting Cameroon in the 70s, before the 70s even, but in the 70s, I remember the president, Joe Biden, told Ndomo to intervene, to speak with the leaders of the UPC. And later on, he was accused for supporting the UPC. And he was arrested, later on condemned to death. In fact, that was his penalty. And yes, and that resulted to so much talking from within the church. It all happened that the bishops of the church sat down, wrote to the presidency, denouncing such stuff. He was sentenced to life imprisonment, and in 1975 he was released. When he was released, there is something that happened which shows the division that is within the Catholic Church. Why other bishops were celebrating, the Bishop of Yaoundé, Jean Zoua, the Archbishop of Yaoundé by then, refused celebrating along with them. That was the first. Why? He was somebody who was connected to the regime in place by then. He was in favor. When we come to the 1980s, there is something that also happened where a group of Bassa bishops in the littoral wrote to the bishop, to the Pope, because of the fact that a lot of Bamilekes were being nominated to positions which were not in the Bamileke land. And they wrote and sent a memorandum to the Pope condemning that. That's division. there were popes of Bassa origin, were against the fact that the bishops were being raised from other areas. Apart from that, it all happened that during that same period, rounding up that year, that decade, the President Kardinal Tumi was nominated by the Pope to become the Bishop of Garwa, beg your pardon, of Garwa, which is in the north. The people, this is the terminology these people use. They said he is an Anglophone Bamileke, still an appointee, which is related to the grassroots, which is contrary to what they want. That's division. Then in the 1990s, when the multi-partyism was being set up, look at what happened. The day SDF was being launched in Bamenda, 6 persons who were supporters of the party were killed. And when they were killed, in Bamenda, the Archbishop of Bamenda, Paul, had to organize a prayer for them, a mass for them. What was the response of the bishop, the Archbishop of Yaoundé? The Archbishop of Yaoundé organized a contrary mass, saying that they need to cleanse those kind of masses that are taking place in the Catholic Church. Those are reasons why necessarily, if you are a leader who is objective and want to see progress, you will not expect that the church that should be an example should be tribalistic. But the church in Cameroon has shown the leaders of this nation that they are tribalistic and they can work based on their gains. And that is enough reason why some of them are disrespected. Of recent,
mais ça, c'est quand même la voix du président là. C'est la conférence épiscopale nationale.
You see, I am speaking from this point because I want you to see that there is something wrong.
Yeah.
That is causing the church not to gain respect before politicians in Cameroon. They have taken the lower bar. And as a result of that, it is affecting them. When you come to the other side, I want to say this. If the church will become a better arbiter, it is supposed to take a neutral ground. It is supposed to take a neutral ground and show that to the politicians in this nation that they are neutral. And when that happens, I'm certain that they will have a bit, their voice will be heard. If they can come together and speak, it will make a difference. Even though the president of the Episcopal Conference has written, it is not something that will just happen. They need to show that sense. Because I will tell you this, even though one person right, because we believe in the Catholic Church that you can't, it is the voice of the bishop that is the voice of the people. So if he spoke, it is good. But if they have not been received, it is because there is something wrong. They have seen division among them. And so they need to come to unity. Unite themselves. Let that divide in the Catholic Church disappear. When it disappears, they will have respect.
Voilà, vous êtes d'accord avec ça? C'est les divisions en interne qui amènent ce qui conduisent à ce silence de la part des Toudi. Déjà, Monseigneur André Nkea, l'archevêque de Bamenda, lui dit, il arrive que les séparatistes nous accusent d'être proches du gouvernement et que le gouvernement nous accuse d'être proches des séparatistes.
You know, I understood Prof's standpoint. I believe that he's speaking more as a clergy than he is. It's because he also has a double cap as a man of God. I think that what is ongoing in Cameroon today is not an issue of division within the Catholic Church. First of all, I don't have the power to talk about the Catholic Church because I hold no position within that church to criticize the church. But I believe that what is ongoing
Attendez une minute. Vous avez suivi ce qui s'est passé dans l'Église catholique après la présidentielle?
We know what is
entre
happening.
Monseigneur Cléda Douala et Jean Baga Yaoundé.
We know what is happening, Serge. And it is in all churches. It's not different. The EEC has the same. The Presbyterian has the same. In all churches, it's the same thing. But I think that what is peculiar today is the fact that we have a personality from the Catholic Church that can turn the tables around. That is the major thing. Because Serge, we should take it or leave it. The Catholic Church remains a state within a state. And the personality who is in Cameroon, there are two things that caught my attention about his visit. The first thing is that for the first time, we saw a Secretary of State, Minister Delegate at the Secretary at the Presidency, Ferdinand Gongo. You saw him in Bamenda.
Yes.
That is somebody that we've always seen him during communiques. The President is only communiques. And for the first time, you see him in Bamenda. And if you see him in Bamenda, it tells you that it is serious business. It's not any kind of business. And secondly, while during his stay in Bamenda, he made it very clear that violence has never solved any problem. It means that it's a message to the government in Yaoundé that if you think that you can use weapons to kill the struggle, then it's not the right way, because violence cannot solve the problem. And if you go by what Archbishop Nkeya said, that when you talk this way, they feel you're for government, you talk this way, they feel he is just one of those so many Cameroonians. When Prince come on platforms like this and talk about, no, the government went wrong here, what they attack you is that you are a separatist. The day you say, okay, the government did well, then you are with the government. So at times within the crisis today, it becomes very difficult to be objective, because objectivity within the crisis today, either you're attacked being an amber or you're attacked being with the government. But there is one thing that is very clear, that the personality who is in Cameroon today, Cardinal Pedro Parolin, it's not any kind of person.
Ouais.
I believe that somebody within the Catholic Church who is already signaling is going to dive into that. The personality we have in Cameroon today, who are 6 days, is the Secretary of State of the Vatican City.
Ouais.
And
Numéro 2 du Vatican.
And so she goes to tell you that it's not any kind of personality who is in Cameroon. The moment he's in Cameroon, he has a tete-a-tete with Paul Biya. It is true that during his stay, information wasn't given that much about what he discussed with the Yaoundé regime, but it is clear that the Anglophone crisis was top on agenda. And secondly, while in Bamenda, you will notice that during the mass that he held in Bamenda, everything that he preached during the installation, during Bishop Nkeya's ordination at the podium, you will notice that everything that Cardinal Parolin said had to do with the crisis. And says, if those who are following us and know what the program Equinox is and what some of us have said here, it's not different from what we have been saying. He talked about a ceasefire. He talked about justice. He talked about truth. Because we have a crisis today because there is the absence of truth inside. When a minister goes to Bamenda, for instance, and tells you that Biya has won the war against separatists, when in real sense, people are still in the bushes, it's lies telling. And when you tell lies, a crisis cannot be solved. You cannot solve a crisis when people still carry arms. That's why he talks about ceasefire. And you cannot solve a crisis when there is no justice. So I believe that what is ongoing today, Serge, the Catholic Church is the universal church. It's a church that is all over. The Catholic Church is in Cameroon, and I still feel that there is a possibility for Cardinal Pedro Parolin to push the tables around. And I know that if the Catholic Church, as it has taken it as a responsibility, if they want that the Anglophone crisis should end, they can force it down the throat of Paul Biya. Why? Because the president is a member of that church. Remember that, like Prof was saying during history, it is very true that Ahidjo did not have a good relationship with the Vatican. That is why the first ever Pope to come to Cameroon only came during the Biya's regime. No Pope came during the Ahidjo's regime. Maybe because of Albert Ndomo. We should not forget that Bishop Albert Ndomo was at the verge of being killed. But the Pope said, I heard you have a certain Cameroonian called Albert Ndomo. Oui. You can go ahead and kill that your Cameroonian, but do not touch my bishop.
Oui,
but what happened, Serge? We know that amongst those that were to be executed, he was not executed. It means that today, if the Catholic Church is of good faith, the Anglophone crisis we are seeing every day is turning. And we are those Cameroonians who have said it here since 2016, that the system that the government is taking cannot solve the Anglophone crisis. The Cardinal Pedro said that Pope in Rome is aware of the crisis in Cameroon, that it is 4 years. It is time, Serge Aleondo, that the Catholic Church forced the regime in Yaoundé. Ferdinand Gongo was in Bamenda. It is very true that when a majority of them go to Bamenda, they end within upstation, and Ayaba Hotel where they do reception. A majority of them do not know where Mfuma is located. They don't know where Akwaya is located. They don't know where those villages are. And I would have loved, I was discussing with somebody today when you sent me this topic. I told somebody that if Ferdinand Gongo could move from Bamenda to Nkambe without excursion, without the military, and he goes back to Yaoundé, then I'll sit on this platform and say the Anglophone crisis is over.
Okay. Augustine Wendou, welcome.
Thank you very much, Serge.
Voilà, Augustine, nous parlons de l'Église et des divisions à l'intérieur de l'Église avec la présence du secrétaire d'État du Saint-Siège qui est au Cameroun. Le président l'a reçu, mais Monseigneur Abraham Commin dit que l'Église catholique, le clergé a émis le vœu d'être reçu par le président Biya. Toujours rien. Certains pensent que c'est du fait des divisions internes à l'Église. Pourquoi le clergé camerounais n'est pas, on va le dire comme ça, écouté par le président? Pourquoi quand c'est quelqu'un qui vient du Vatican, il est reçu tout de suite? Qu'est-ce qui se passe?
I want to, first and foremost...
Pourtant, le clergé camerounais propose, comme ils disent, une sortie de crise aussi. Des pistes pour sortir de la crise.
I want to, first of all, greet my co-panelists, of course, my senior brother there, and of course, my brothers who are around the table here, and to greet televiewers, and to greet the people of the Northwest and the Southwest region, and the people of Cameroon as a whole. The question you asked me, I want to first and foremost say the Catholic Church is universal.
Yeah.
There is no division within the Catholic Church. Because if you want to talk about division within the Catholic Church
in Cameroon,
then you are telling me that there is a rebel a bishop that has broken apart and has formed another church. But in as much as nothing of that sort is happening, I want to be very crystal clear that no division within the church. Why is the church not listened to? I believe that you should ask this question to the powers that be. Because on this panel, I state it unequivocal that when the bishop, the Archbishop of Abuja, wants to see Muhammadu Buhari, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, he merely picked his call. He merely picked his phone and made a call. And he's at the Rock House. Okay? Why is it different in Cameroon? Why is it different? We have a cardinal in Cameroon that had governed Cameroon, Equatorial Guinea, Chad, and the Central African Republic.
Augustin, vous prenez d'un cas, le président Buhari est musulman, et vous dites que on veut l'appeler. Au Cameroun, le président est catholique et l'Église catholique, pourquoi ça ne passe pas?
I don't want to take it from the perspective of the president being a Catholic. Whether a Muslim, whether an animist, whether a non-Christian, I want to say that the church is a moral institution. And the Catholic Church in international diplomacy cannot be overemphasized. The level at which the Catholic Church has lifted this country, if you want to talk in educational domain, in health domain, even in spiritual domain, I don't see how it's possible that, the president of the National Episcopal Conference is not received by the head of state. It's repugnant to me, and I'm at a loss that of this moment, His Eminence Christian Cardinal to me, with all the effort he put in place, I believe that he would have been received at the State House severally. Because I want to tell you, look, my Prince was just saying here, politicians cannot freely go to the Northwest and the Southwest region. Cabinet ministers alike, if they want to go, they put on gun proofs and go with military convoys. But the only person who can freely go, and you can, I stand corrected, is a pastor. He's a man of God. And that is why His Eminence, Cardinal Prito Pauline, fell free in Bamenda. You saw the crowd. He was not like talking in a war-torn town. He said, this is promised land. This is a land blessed by God. In spite of the turmoil. That is to tell you that the church knows how to talk. The church knows better how to communicate and what to communicate and to which audience. All right? Meaning that if this crisis from escalation, if the church has been given the opportunity, the church would have spoken in the language that the people will understand. The church would have spoken wisdom, spoken spiritually, and spoken even socially. Because the church is an embodiment of humanity. Okay? But I have the impression that the church has never been given the opportunity to speak, to act.
Okay. Voilà.
That is why I am still saying, because if you go by the number of pastoral letters written by the National Episcopal Conference of Cameroon, if you go even by individual action like that of the Archbishop Emeritus, His Eminent Christian Cardinal to me, remember that the Archbishop of Douala, His Grace Samuel Kleda, drove from here, Douala, right to the Federal Republic of Nigeria, accompanied by other bishops like His Grace Andrew Nkea. He was then the Bishop of Mafi. He was equally accompanied by Monsignor Abraham Kome, who is the National Episcopal Conference president. He was equally accompanied by, by Monsignor Bibi Michael Nyabise, who is now the Bishop of Boya. They went to the Federal Republic of Nigeria. That is to tell you that where politicians cannot enter, where those who carry guns cannot enter, men of God enters. Okay. Because they preach the good news of hope, they preach the good news of peace, they preach the good news of salvation.
Voilà. Barista, yes. On comprend, hein, il dit que où les politiques ont échoué, l'Église peut faire. Mais comment comprendre-t-on que, je crois, entre le 5 et le 6 novembre dernier, qu'on ait pris, comme ça, on ait retenu, Monseigneur, le cardinal Toumi? Est-ce que les séparatistes n'avaient pas confiance? Comment prendre quelqu'un un homme de Dieu?
Serge, I'll start by honestly disassociating myself with the presumption that the church is so divided, and that's the reason of not being received by the head of state. Yes, the church. There is no justification. There is no justification why the president of the republic will not receive the men of God. You understand? And I want to make it clear that
le caractère laïque du Cameroun.
No, Serge, it is state arrogance.
Oui.
The president has exhibited arrogance. It's pride and arrogance that can lead to such behaviors. Because the clergymen.
Est-ce que le président a dit non, qu'il ne les reçoit pas?
Pour dire non, ce n'est pas seulement pour dire. Quand tu restes
sans dire. Il n'a pas encore répondu.
Mais s'il y a un problème qui persiste,
oui,
et on vous demande, on demande de vous voir, et vous ne voyez pas les gens, ce n'est pas un refus, c'est un refus. Donc le problème est vraiment des massacres sont énormes que même si c'est le matin qu'on appelle le président de la République, il doit recevoir des gens le soir. Donc, ça n'a aucune justification. Pour moi, c'est une affaire d'arrogance, de mépris. L'Église n'est pas aussi divisée comme on nous fait croire. Non, c'est l'État qui ne veut pas comprendre. Et c'est la même chose avec des chefs du village. On ne va pas dire qu'il n'y a pas l'harmonie entre les chefs, c'est pour cela qu'on ne les écoute pas. Non, on ne les écoute pas parce que nous vivons dans un pays qui ne respecte rien. Dans un pays que le chef de l'État est là depuis longtemps et sûrement ils se confondent être peut-être le roi. Vous comprenez? Voilà des vérités que des Camerounais, nous tous, on connaît. que beaucoup de personnes ont peur de les dire. Mais ça, ce sont des vérités. Quand vous laissez quelqu'un, n'est-ce pas, comme président pendant 40 ans, vous pensez à quoi? Vous pensez à quoi? Donc, tout cela sont des manifestations, n'est-ce pas, de cette longévité. Et n'oublie pas que même le Christ anglophone est la conséquence de ce comportement. Quand des problèmes ont commencé, on ne voulait pas régler. Il y a des gens qui ont fait des efforts. Quand ici, Cardinal Toumi a été arrêté ou kidnappé par des ambazonies, c'est parce qu'on trouve qu'il est en train peut-être de trop faire l'effort à un point que peut-être il croit qu'il est aux côtés de l'État. Ce qui est faux. Nous tous, on a besoin de la paix. Et si quelqu'un... Je vais vous demander quelque chose. Est-ce que c'est normal que c'est un étranger qui doit venir vous dire qu'il faut régler ces problèmes?
Voilà.
Ce n'est pas un étranger qui doit venir. Nous-mêmes, on peut régler ces problèmes. Il faut juste qu'on soit honnête.
Accepter.
Et accepter. Et sage. J'ai toujours dit, la procédure pour régler cette crise anglophone est très simple. Ça commence avec honnêteté. Soyons honnêtes. Il y a un problème. Et sage. On ne peut pas régler la crise anglophone sans changer la forme de l'État. Voilà la vérité. Des anglophones ont dépassé cette constitution de 96 qui parlait de décentralisation. Nous sommes déjà dépassés, c'est déjà dépassé. Et maintenant, des gens qui ont pris les armes, que je condamne, n'est-ce pas, veulent la sécession. Mais nous, il y a certains de nous qui croient que le fédéralisme, on va rester avec nos frères camerounais. Donc, si le chef de l'État dit aujourd'hui, j'ai compris ce problème. Je comprends que on a parlé de ces constitutions-là, ça fait 20 quelque chose des années, mais c'est maintenant qu'on essaye, n'est-ce pas, d'appliquer. Je sais que ça pose un problème. Regarde. Quand à 96 ils ont changé, modifié cette constitution, ça reflète, n'est-ce pas, l'aspiration des Camerounais à cette époque, qui est différent de l'attente des Camerounais aujourd'hui. Donc, il n'y a aucune justification pour ne pas recevoir quelqu'un qui veut que la paix rentre, n'est-ce pas, au nozo. Il n'y a pas. Et donc, moi, l'appel que j'ai fait, ça va commencer avec honnêteté, humble. Hein? Il faut être humble dans la vie.
Il a tout dit.
Regarde, et ça, c'est une qualité. Regarde, je vais vous dire quelque chose. Ça, c'est une qualité que je supplie que beaucoup de Camerounais peuvent développer. Être humble. Quand vous êtes humble, vous pouvez bien gérer des gens. Quand vous êtes humble, vous pouvez écouter et connaître. Je vais vous dire, il ne faut pas qu'on se perde. Le chef de l'État est à Yaoundé pour régler les problèmes camerounais. Avant tout. Et pour régler ce problème, il doit écouter. Il doit écouter ce peuple. Est-ce que vous pensez honnêtement que Paul Biya a écouté ses enfants? Est-ce que vous pensez que Paul Biya a suffisamment écouté des chefs de village? Est-ce que vous pensez que le chef de l'État a écouté l'Église? On ne peut pas prétendre que l'Église doit être neutre. Quand quelque chose est mauvais, l'Église est aux côtés de la vérité et aux côtés des personnes, tout le monde n'est-ce pas, qui les suit. L'Église ne va pas dire aujourd'hui que non, il n'y a pas un problème. Non, il y a un problème. Nous tous, on connaît qu'il y a un problème. Il faut qu'on soit honnête, humble et avoir cette volonté pour régler cette... Si les trois choses, pendant quelques jours, si on pratique les trois choses, la crise de Onozo sera oubliée.
Voilà. Oui, Dr. McAntony.
Okay,
Vous dites qu'on ne vous a pas bien saisi.
I saw that when I was talking, they were taken by the division, they were not listening to me.
We listened to you.
No.
I did listen to you.
The first statement I made was that the reason why the Cameroon government lacks, is not even permitting to receive our
division.
Our clergy is the fact. First, there is a division. What division was I talking about? There is this idea of Anglophone bishops and Francophone bishops. That is the thing you should understand. Why I presented, forget about the personality, forget about this. I cited situations where you see the Bishop of Yaoundé taking sides with the regime. Not as if when the bishops of Bamenda speak, who are the ones facing the problem, he stands outright against them. When I cited a situation where Cardinal Tumu was nominated by the Pope, it's not a tribal thing. Some bishops of Bassa origin got up here in Douala, wrote to a memorandum to the Pope. That is to tell you that there is a tribal issue, and that has caused something. To my perspective, I look at it as a reason for the disrespect that the state is giving to the church. Because on normal basis, the church is the voice of the state. When I say the voice, I'm speaking from this position because, listen, if I go to settle an issue and meet persons who are having a loggerhead, I don't take a position. The people receive me. But already when the bishops in the Northwest want to speak, they already are having a preconception that these people,
which is false.
It is. I think it's false. When I say the governing body has a preconception that those people, because they are Anglophones, right, they will speak for the Anglophones. That is a wrong way to perceive them. They should not perceive them from that position. They should perceive them as a neutral body. That is the way the government should perceive the church, as a neutral body. And when the church is perceived as a neutral body, they can stand in a better position to be a good arbiter for this problem. But once they are coming and you already have a preconception that these people, they are Anglophone, irrespective of the fact that they are having that clergy title on them, they have a problem, or the government has a problem already with the fact that they are not Francophones. And so I see a division based on language, which is the same thing that is happening in Cameroon. In Cameroon, we have, I think there are 6 archbishoprics, right? You have from Kali Church. There are 6 of them. 1 is from the Anglophone section. Okay. And when, yes, one of the archbishoprics carries the whole Anglophone, what we call the Bamenda. That particular ecclesiastical province, when they spoke, I think 2017, they spoke from a position where they understood the crisis better.
Parce qu'ils vivent.
But there was a direct response that was coming from a bishop, an archbishop in Yaoundé. That already has something to do. So when you ask me, should the government not look at them with that preconception that they are Anglophone, is wrong. They are men of God. Okay. They should be perceived as men of God. And if they are coming to solve a problem, they should be received as men of God. It goes back to all of us here on that same point where I said there is disrespect from the government to the church. The government has disrespect for the church. And I was saying that from my own viewpoint, I perceive that might be it is because of that divide. And even if it is not from that divide, it already proves that the church in Cameroon does not, the government of Cameroon does not have good faith when it comes to the church. Because I don't see a reason. We have a cardinal in Cameroon. It is not a cardinal that is leaving from Rome to come and solve the problem when we have a cardinal right in Cameroon. Apart from a cardinal, we have bishops all over Cameroon. What happened in Cote d'Ivoire? Was it the Pope or the Secretary of State of Vatican that came and solved it? No. It was popes from within the Democratic Republic of Congo. If our own, it was bishops. If our own bishops attempt to go and handle it, and they are disrespected that much, that is to make you understand that we have a government that is not God-fearing in the first place. We have a government that does not think that the church is fit. You see, I tend to believe at times that those who are leading us in Cameroon have already fallen and their path had already been determined for destruction. And that is why they don't want to listen to the voice of council.
Okay.
And so they are willing to let destruction come to Cameroon even when they are in the presence of light. So that is something that when we are speaking, I am not fighting against the Roman Catholic Church, because that is, I saw the point from which you came. I am not against the Roman Catholic Church. I am from that particular base. So there's no way for me to stand against it. But I'm saying that there is a francophone-anglophone divide, which to me is a problem.
Voilà, on va prendre Blaziz Moundé. Je crois que cette fois-ci c'est la bonne. Blaziz Moundé, l'Église catholique, c'est la question. Peut-elle réussir ou les autres ont échoué à Blaziz depuis Paris?
Oui, bonsoir. Good evening to all our panelists and our viewers tonight. We are speaking about a head of state who did not visit since 2000, since the reunification celebration in Bamenda and Buea. We are speaking about the head of state who did not visit that part of Cameroon. We are speaking about the head of state who did not receive nor the trade unions or the various people constituting what Cameroon has as, a nation. Who can tell me tonight, who is from people like Cardinal Toumi, people like Aboué Machoyi, who are the people that have been received by the head of state, Paul Biya? It is not a question of tribalism within the church. It is not a question of not taking in consideration the church. It is a question of a head of state who is not considering the fact that Cameroonians are important to be received at Etudi. Last time, when I was speaking about another problem concerning the minister at Tanganji and the traditional rulers in the West Province of Cameroon, I state about the fact that even what they call in Cameroon GCAM, the managers of companies, the head of state don't receive them at the Unity Palace. It is not a problem of church. Yes, I guess that there is problem within the church, but it is not. I want to state very clearly that we have a problem with our head of state. The President Paul Biya is not considering Cameroonian as being important to be received at Etudi Unity Palace. Okay, so I want to now speak about the world problem. Abraham Kome, rather than only addressing the issues, they sent a memorandum to the head of state since 4 years. It is 4 years now that the church sent a memorandum to the head of state, Paul Biya. 4 years. 1, 2, 3, 4. And within the framework of the church, they continuously addressing the issues. They continuously addressing from the social doctrine of the church, Rerum Novarum, from the perspective of the church, from all what church has as values. The church is being part of Cameroonian problem since the colonial masters installed in Cameroon. The church with, the conflict between Jean Zwa and Dokmo, the conflict between Thomas Mongo and Dokmo, the conflict between some church, ecclesiastic province in Cameroon and some of the major church person in our country. So we have to say now, I think Barrister told us about the clear and the straight point we have to address tonight. There is a too late way of addressing this issue. There is no way of being to don't acknowledge the fact that if today, after the major national dialogue, we are still speaking about the Anglophone problem, there is a problem, says Alain Otu. There is a problem because the main goals of the major national dialogue was to solve the Anglophone problem. And if now the Secretary of State in Vatican is coming in our country, we don't need foreigners to solve a Cameroonian problem. We know historically what is happening, what happened in that part of our country. There is a problem of redistributing the revenues of petroleum exploitation, oil exploitation in that part of Cameroon. How can you imagine that in Mundemba, Indian division in our country, they are exploiting SNH, Société Nationale des Hydrocarbures, the company which is dedicated to sell our kerosene, our oil abroad. There is no development in Mundemba. There is no development in Bakassi. There is no development in Bamenda. Whereas some other part of our country are benefiting from that revenues of petroleum exploitation. If we are not addressing the problem of Anglophone issues with straight talk, we will be like this two late council, English council arriving in Douala after the signature of the treaty between the Douala Kings and Nachtigal. So I want to say tonight that we are now obliged to appeal to the head of state, saying that we have two issues. The first is to the first is to know how Cameroonians could sit together with those who are telling us that today we want to separate. Those who are telling we want to separate are Ayuk Tabe, Fongala for they are in prison. Those who are saying we want federalism are Agbo Bala. Those who are saying we want federalism, we want to remain Cameroonian, they are Mancho Bibixi, they are in prison. So they have to be liberated. I want to remind Cameroonians that they announced to Cameroonians that Mr. Ayuk Tabe were withdrawn from prison and met with government plenipotentiary at Volier within the premises of church. What is the result of that contact? We don't know. What is the result of the contact engaged by San Egizio, where Cameroonians were called upon to dialogue? What is the real result of that? So we want to know tonight that if after the aftermath of election, the aftermath of regional election, if it is not consequently addressing the issue, we have now to say, okay, the Constitution of Cameroon from 96 is no more able to solve the problem. We have to imagine another way of solving this problem by our own means.
Wendou, est-ce que aujourd'hui cette façon de faire aujourd'hui n'est pas due à ce que, parce que beaucoup pensent que l'Église catholique n'est pas complètement neutre dans cette crise anglophone.
Before I answer to that question, I want to come back to my brother on my right hand here, that he made a very dangerous general statement. You know, I keep emphasizing that the church, the Universal Church, the Roman Catholic Church, okay, he has an Episcopal conference. And where you can talk about division is only when there is a statement coming from an Episcopal conference meeting that runs contrary to the decision of the bishops of the Northwest or of the Bamenda Ecclesiastical Province. Oui. And I want to tell my brother here that the said bishops, when Bishop Cornelius Fontaine-Messoa was still Archbishop of Bamenda, you have the Bishop of Kumbu, His Lordship John Kuo, you have the Bishop of Boya at the time was Emmanuel Balanjo Bochu, you have the Bishop of Kumba at the time that is His Lordship Agabitos Fon and Andrew Kia of Murphy. They wrote a memorandum to the head of state, and there was no there was no contrary view coming from any bishop in Cameroon per that memorandum. So I don't know from where. We know the church. I believe that barristers said there that there is a cankerworm in Cameroonians. We should be able to be humble and to accept what is called intellectual honesty. when we want to talk, the church is not divided, sir. And I don't think that the head of state not receiving the bishops of Cameroon is because of division. No, you would have used this word. I'm not correcting you or putting you to morals. You would have used this word that divide and rule comes from government. They use the tactics of divide and rule, but they have not been able to divide the church, which is in Cameroon. Coming back to Serge Alain's question, I don't see, the only thing I want to tell you is that we are talking on this panel. We have never spoken about the number of priests assassinated in this country because of their stand for the common good. Because, sir, the church is not the voice of the state. You make another monumental error. The church is not the voice of the state. The church is the voice of the voiceless.
Ok.
The church is the voice of the poor.
Voilà, merci. On revient après le journal parce que dans un instant, Cédric Noufélé sera là pour porter la voix de l'ensemble de la rédaction Equinox Télévision. Tout de suite, une page de pub. Et après, le 20h.
Congratulate you for progress on your journey. For all your efforts while taking care of your family, you also didn't give up taking care of yourself.